this video, we're going to talk about challenge roles in Welcome Aboard Captain. Basically, what's going to happen in the game is that you're going to be presented with a lot of tasks. For instance, flying through an asteroid field or something like that. And you're going to have to perform challenge roles to reduce the strengths of those tasks to 0 so that you can clear them. And so what this video is going to talk about is how do you perform a challenge role. So the first thing you need to do in a challenge role is to choose the task that you're going to be challenging. So let's say that we're in a situation where there's an asteroid field that we have to fly through. So the task might be fly through asteroids. And it might have a strength of 4. We have to reduce that 4 to 0 in order to clear the task of flying through the asteroids. Well, one of the things that is always true about a task is that there's going to be 2 dice that are opposing you and 2 dice that your crew member brings to the table to represent the way that they're trying to deal with that situation. So the 2 dice that are going to be opposing you are called threat dice, and we'll use these black dice for that. They can range from D4 to D12, but usually they're in the range of 6 to 10. So we're going to imagine 2 things that could be going up against us. If you were using one of the pre-made adventures, these will be written for you. Otherwise, you kind of have to come up with them yourself. And there's tables that you can roll on if you need ideas. But flying through an asteroid field, it seems like the 2 things that would be threatening us are giant asteroid rocks. Like very large asteroids that we have to fly around. And the other would just be the constant pinging of small, tiny debris off of the hull of the ship. So we'll call that constant debris. So those are our 2 threats to our situation that we're going to use. And we're going to assign them dice. Excuse me. We're going to assign them dice. The way we do that is we look at our current alert level. The alert level is a way for us to kind of adjust the difficulty on the fly. Most of the time, you're just going to leave it in the same spot. Today, we'll use Amber Alert Level, which is it's the default difficulty level for the game. If you want something easier, or if you're playing with kids, say, you might bump it down to green for an easier situation. Or you can go up to red or even black if you want a tough technical challenge. Looking at the alert level, we see that during the Amber Alert levels, our die sizes are going to be D8s. So we're going to be rolling a D8 for the giant asteroid rocks and a D8 for the constant debris. Well, what are we using to address this situation? Well, first we choose which of our bridge officers are going to be doing it. So it makes sense for the pilot to be doing that. And what trait are we going to use? Well, he's got this hotshot pilot trait. That seems like it would apply. So we're going to use that as one of our 2 dice for attacking this situation. It's a D10. So we've got that. Hotshot pilot. And he could use one of his other traits, but we could also use the ship. We have agility louvers on the ship, which are for maneuverability. So we're going to use those, and those are a D8. So now we've got our 2 dice on either side, and we just roll them. Whichever one comes out highest is going to be our determining factor of what happens. There we go. So we have a 5 for the agility louvers as the highest. We have a 2 and a 4 for the giant asteroid rocks and the constant debris. We have 4 for hotshot pilot and 5 for agility louver. So we're winning this this roll, this challenge roll, because the 5 is highest. And it turns out that the agility louvers are what's really allowing us to go around the rocks. So how much do we reduce this by? Well, we have to do 4 levels to reduce it. And the way we find how many levels we succeed is we take the highest one from the winning side and subtract the highest one from the lowest side. So 5 minus 4 would be 1. So we would reduce this from 4 down to 3. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we keep flying. We do it again. Okay, 6, 6, 6, and 3. Here we have a situation where we have a tie. When ties happen, we have something that's called a twist. When you have a twist, you roll once on the good twist and bad twist table to see what happens. Like, for instance, if we were to do this right now, I could roll a d8 on the good twist and get another bridge officer may now take a free action. He's doing well, and somebody else can do something like use the sensors to help him. But then the bad twist would be another remaining task gains +2 strength. So if there's another task in play that we would have to do while we're flying through the asteroids, it would gain 2 strength. But maybe we don't want the twist to happen. Well, one thing that you always have the option to do in this game is you can spend resources to force rerolls. So for instance, our pilot has a whole bunch of stamina left, hasn't used any of it. So what he's going to do is he's going to spend a point of stamina, to re-roll one of the dice. I'm going to choose this 6 here. Now it's a 5. Okay, so now we no longer have a tie between both sides. So this side is winning over that side, and we'd be able to just remove stuff from remove strength from the task. But we actually rolled 2 6s here. That means there's a tie for the top on my side. That means I can remove all the dice from the other side and the full value gets applied. This would remove 6 from the strength of the task, and that completes it completely. We've flown through the asteroid field. Our pilot it took a little bit of his stamina, but he was able to get us through the asteroid field with no trouble. So that's how you do challenge rolls in Welcome Aboard Captain. You roll the dice. Whichever one comes out on top is the determining factor in the fiction. You subtract the highest from the lowest to remove the ranks. In case of a tie, if it's on both sides, you use the twist tables. If they're on one side, it's a critical success or a critical failure, and the entire die size applies. And that's it for challenge rolls in Welcome Aboard Captain. There are a few other nuances, like for instance, this generates things called success ranks. If this side had 1, it would generate things called failure ranks. And depending on what you're doing, the success ranks and the failure ranks can have special effects. Like for instance, if you are rolling to generate new power. If you're the engineer and you're rolling because you need more power in the ship, it might say, oh, for each success rank that you generate a new point of power. So there are some extra details, but you'll see those in the rules document for Welcome Aboard Captain. This here is the main mechanic that you'll be using throughout the course of the game. Thanks for watching.